Hello Cancer, welcome or welcome back to my Body and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do the reading for the last month of this year, December 2020. What a year now. I hope you're well, Cancer. This is a general reading, so it will not resonate with everybody. It's going to resonate with some of you. It is also for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. So it's going to resonate differently if Cancer is your Sun, your Moon, or your Rising, according to the function of each. Alright, my dears, let's see what's going on with you. You have the Six of Wands as your current energy. Not bad, not shabby at all. The Queen of Swords is your challenge. Five of Cups is your advice. Knight of Pentacles as future energy. Okay. And let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. The Magician. Isn't that nice? Cancer. Alright, now let's see what is... let's just clarify this. Why are these cards here? Nice. You have the Sun with the Six of Wands. Where's the Queen of Swords here as the challenge? The Lovers and the Emperor. Why is the Five of Cups here as the advice for Cancer in December 2020? Ooh, okay. Okay. The Chariot, Three of Swords, and Death as advice, along with the Five of Cups. And with the Knight of Pentacles, why is the Knight of Pentacles here as future energy? Daughter of Swords, which is the Page of Swords, basically. And bottom of the deck, you have the Six of Swords as the theme of the reading of the month of December. For my dear Cancer. Okay, let me take a sip of tea. Oh, yeah. Alright, Cancer. So what I'm seeing is a new beginning going on for you. It's a beautiful new beginning. It's like almost like reinventing yourself. The Magician is really putting yourself out there in however way you feel or want to or able to after a deep process is taking place. This is the month. This is the theme of the month, though. You're getting through this. You're going through this, but you're going through a process in order to be able to do this. But this is the invitation, coming out into the world after this process and moving, in a way, moving into a new direction. The Six of Swords talks about a transition of sorts, and it's emotional and mental level. This is the most important. That, okay, yeah, it can signify actual travel or travel overseas, but I think it's much more about being able to mentally and emotionally move on after something, some type of experience that took a lot from you. Let's put it this way: that you took a long time to process. That maybe brought in a lot of inner conflict and suffering of sorts. And I think that what could change is the way you look at the situation, or like just not feeling triggered by it anymore, or not feeling trapped into it anymore, not feeling like you need to show up in a certain way, or it can literally feel like you need to leave something painful behind. And it can just be that mental decision, like I've taken the decision, now I know for sure that this is not working for me and I can't invest more of myself. It feels good because it's like a freedom. It's like really like getting yourself, not just thinking about it, doing it. That's kind of how it feels. Because it comes out of the magician, which is very executive energy. It's like manifesting it into the world. So you're definitely moving on, Cancer, from whatever hurts and pains that you've been through recently, or I don't know how recent this could be. It's very interesting because we have the transition, like a very huge transit happening. The Saturn and Jupiter are moving from Capricorn into Aquarius this December. So this could be actually a theme for the past 3 years. Saturn is about, especially Saturn in Capricorn, talks about limitations and how we feel limited and how what we need to justify somehow our worth to ourselves and to the world. These are very deep core wound type of themes, and we've all been working with it in our own way, the way it affected us. Yeah. So this, whatever pain you've been through and you're moving away from, or mental cycle, or whatever you name it, trouble, situation, relationship, job, life phase is ending. And it could be the theme of the whole, like the last 3 years, right? It could also be more recent, but not necessarily. Okay, so now in current energy, you seem to be I would say quite joyful, quite happy, quite able to go out into the world. You're ready to do the move. You're ready to recognize your hard work in order to be able to make this move. You're able to recognize how how far you've come. How far you've come. If it could be, if it's about the past 3 years, like a lot had happened in 3 years, and sometimes it feels like nothing changes, and that same themes repeat again and again and again. Yet I feel like you're now able to see that you've covered a lot of ground in these years, and you've been making quite a lot of progress, and there had been a lot that you've discovered about yourself, that had been revealed about yourself and about the whatever this situation brought up within you, your life experience. I'd like to I think it's a love. This reading particularly points more towards a love heartbreak of sorts. So maybe a partnership, a relationship of sorts had been very heavy on you, and you've been struggling with it. But I think that now you're able to see how much you've grown through this painful experience, and you feel empowered now to move on. You feel more ready to be seen and to show more of yourself and to allow others to experience you, more of you, not just the parts of you that you thought should look in a certain way or be in a certain way, like not so edited. And when I say this, doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, now we need to go out there, be authentic, and not have any more, I don't know, be polite anymore, or be considerate with other people because I'm so raw and authentic. It's not about that. We can be very mindful and authentic at the same time. It's more about being more honest and being a little bit more it's okay to be sometimes challenging to others. We don't always have to be liked or accepted by everybody. Yeah, this is a trait that comes from our conditioning. We are wired to want to be accepted because that's what meant survival in tribal times. If we weren't accepted, that literally meant death because yeah, if one was abandoned alone outside of the tribe, what's the name of that? When you're like rejected from the tribe, there was a name for it. I forgot now. Then you would die because the chance of survival was very very small, especially if you're vulnerable. So we're wired to not show our vulnerabilities and to always have to somehow need to be accepted deeply and validated by the group and play a role that is yeah not accepted, but it's more like a role that is possible to be taken within a group, right? And now things have changed a little bit because we are much more individual. We are able to survive, and there is no such thing as aloneness anymore. Like we're literally like so interconnected. It's hard to find a place to be alone anymore. Yeah, okay, if you live in super remote areas, you can have that, but still, like the humanity in general occupies a lot on the planet right now. I don't know how I went into all this blabbering. The point is that you're now able to show more of yourself. You're able to understand also that this validation comes from within now, because you validate yourself. That's the thing. You can see that you've done progress, and when others mirror that back at you, you know what it's talking about, and you receive it. Many times we're looking for validation, and even when we receive it, we don't fully accept it because we don't fully see it for ourselves. So it's more of a please convince me that I'm good because I don't believe I'm good, as an example. But in this case, I'm like, okay, I see my own progress. I'm really empowered by my process and what I see. And when others see it in me, and they mirror it back, I'm like, yes, you're right. Yes, that makes sense. That's perfectly makes sense. I think what's the challenge is to keep some strong boundaries though. Yes, you find your power. Yes, you find like this progress that you've made, and you know. But this is again on the process of moving on. And the process of moving on, what's important is to keep some strong boundaries. Whatever you're moving away from holds no kindness for you, but sometimes it's very hard to move away because we loved, if it's a partnership or whatever, a romance, we love these people. We don't stay in relationships without any type of love, okay, even if it's codependent. There's a getting used to, familiarity, love, connection, all that. Intimacy, even if it's not healthy, it is something that is not easy to be left behind. And if the relationship was abusive in any way, it's even harder then to leave because of fear. But with the Queen of Swords here, and the Lovers, and the Emperor, I think, yeah, it's very challenging right now to put boundaries, and to keep distance from this former partner, or lover, or doesn't talk much about business here, but you never know. Oh, maybe family member you've been very close or entangled with, and now you know that you need to take distance and space and to shift your perspective and come out into the world in a different this thing that you processed. The Queen of Swords has been through everything. She's been through a lot of pain, and now she's able to really communicate clearly and fiercely even what her boundaries are, when her boundaries are being transgressed. What is it that she needs? And she does take a lot of alone time. With the Emperor here, I feel like it may be that you feel the need also to control maybe too much your environment. So sometimes when we put boundaries can end up actually not necessarily honoring our needs, but rather an attempt at controlling other people's behavior. So be mindful of that. This is a sensible and difficult process, and we need to go through these experiences. We need to learn how to that's how empowerment works, you know. We learn what we're capable of, we see our progress, and then we practice with it in real life, and we then maybe put some boundaries that maybe sound very harsh or very strict or very whatever, very rigid, and then people react to them usually not in a good way, because nobody likes to when things change, and when people start putting different rules of interaction, because that's how it can look like, right? And especially if it's somebody that you've been in a partnership with for a while, so certain things were working and suddenly you come and like, this doesn't work for me any longer, I'm done with this, this behavior is not acceptable, this language is not acceptable, and so on. It's not that well received. So we may come out actually as controlling many times, and we may be that's the thing. We need to try and to learn and to do it again and again and again. And yeah, we need to ask ourselves this question: am I here self-caring, or am I trying to control somebody else's behavior? Am I being too rigid here, or am I a little bit exaggerating? These are uncomfortable questions, these are uncomfortable situations, and it's very challenging, but it's part of the self-care process, and it's part of the growth process, and that's how we learn. That's very healthy, actually. So don't run away from the questions. Don't run away from like asking yourself, am I right or am I wrong? And don't get too lost in it. Do it, practice with it, put the boundary, discuss it. Well, if the person doesn't respect your boundary, put a stronger one. It's okay to be rigid, it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to reevaluate later. Don't feel shy about it or scared. You're doing your best, and your best is enough, trust me. Okay, advice. You know, many times we need to use anger as a way to move forward. Anger is a very propelling energy, right? We need anger in order to move away from something that's hurting us. Yet sometimes we can get stuck in the anger, and we can feel angry forever at the world, at the other, at all men or all women, or certain people or groups of people that remind us of what hurt us in the past, you know. And I think that the advice here for you is to really, the way to move into the next stage, which is mourning. Like actually anger is part of the process, right? But now it's time to say your goodbyes for real, at an emotional level. Understand what has been left behind and why you had to leave it behind, and understand that there's more for you to come. You're moving into something else, but you do need to take the time to cry the tears, to process the emotions of this pain, of this heartache, to feel. You need to allow yourself to feel the loss, because there is a loss, no matter how bad the situation got to be, it was good for a while. And we should not get stuck in anger. Anger was useful, anger was needed. But now, allow yourself to cry the tears and allow the transformation to happen at a deep level. Death is again reiterating the story that you need to leave something behind that's not good for you anymore, and that's going to be painful, and that this is taking you through a very deep transformation, propelling you to the next chapter, which is the magician, right? And with the chariot here, I think like you really got it. You got everything that you need to move forward right now. This is the way moving forward. No matter how much we don't like to mourn, this is the way of moving forward. It's not going to last forever unless you make it last forever. Sometimes we get lost in mourning as well, because it's a way to not move on, because it's a way to somehow stay connected to whatever it is that we lost. It could be also the passing on of some loved one. Sometimes it's really hard to let them go, and we keep ourselves in mourning because we feel like that we honor them, but that's not the case. It's not usually the case. That's usually just getting lost. But I think you've done a lot of work. You've done a lot of progress. You've built up a lot of awareness, and you have the knowledge and the resources now to go through this process without having to get lost in it, without having to bypass it or dismiss it or anything like that. Feel the pain, cry the tears, allow the transformation to take place. It's an entire alchemic process, and move on. It's very... I like that in this deck the horse has a moon on its forehead, because that means intuition, connecting to the intuition, connecting to your knowledge that does not come from the mind, right? And as you're processing this emotion, like, what, the Three of Swords also is like mind energy. We always associated with heartbreak, but it's actually mind. The swords are mind. 3 as a number talks about the mind as well. It actually means processing the lower emotion, the insight and the integration that happens as we allow to process our lower emotions. Lower emotions meaning the emotions that come very visceral. It's not like those higher elevated emotion of compassion and unconditional love. Those come as a consequence of processing and practicing and being present and going through, walking the walk. That does not happen through bypassing, and it cannot be forced. Compassion and unconditional love cannot be forced. You can't enforce them. You cultivate them, but you can't force them. So this is really the message. Go with it. Go through it. You'll get out the other way with a lot of strength and determination and this beautiful magician energy of like, whew, I'm out the other way and I'm creating a completely new world for myself. Knight of Pentacles and Daughter of Swords as future energy. think that as you move forward like this, and you're going through this process, and you do the morning, and you put the boundaries, and you move forward, and you come out, and blah 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 blah, you're also learning to slow down a little bit and take your time and see what you want to do with the energy. Where do you want to invest it? Who do you want to spend your time with? It's kind of like revisiting all this, and it's an expansion of your physical realm, and it gives you a little bit of control, but not in like an over controlling way. More like, okay, what kind of actions and interactions are wholesome for me and are helping me for my growth, and which ones are actually having this negative influence over me, and I bound to get lost or to repeat old patterns that don't serve me any longer, and so on and so on and so on. And the daughter of swords, I think you're becoming a student of also of communication, communicating these boundaries in a playful and curious way. Like, you're curious to experiment with it. Now you're sitting on the top of your mountain, and you're like, okay, so I can choose to spend time with these people. Usually I was like maybe overgiving, or maybe used to stay like 3 days in a row with a friend or two, or with a lover or whatever. Now I realize that maybe this is not so beneficial for me. Maybe I need some alone time, or maybe I need to do this and this, and invest some time also into some practical things, not just in feeling really connected with people, or the other way around, because Cancer, you're not necessarily the most extrovert of them all. Maybe it's the time to invest to be able to go and spend some time with some varied amount of people, to get stimulated in certain ways. So I learned how to communicate. It's like, hey, I can meet you, but only from this time to this time, or hey, I'm very happy that you're giving me, that you care about me, but I don't want to hear advice, or things like this, but this is a new venture. It's a new way of coming into the world, and it's good for you to experiment with, and to be playful about it and curious, and also to really take it slow, take your time with it. Don't go out there immediately creating the new relationship, the new family, the new lover, the new whatever. Feel into it, taste into it. Okay, it's the final message from my dear Cancer for December 2020. Cosmic Heart, number 8. Beautiful. Okay, so the poem from Rumi says, I was dead, I became alive. I was tears, I became laughter. The power of love arrived and made me everlasting power. I have seen everything. I have no fear. I have the heart of a lion. I shine like Venus. Rumi. Okay, how long is this? Quite long. There is a time on the journey of love when the beloved, that would be you and me, sweet soul, is prepared to engage more completely with the heart of the divine lover. The preparation will be a rich process, spiritually speaking. It may also feel like being beaten, pummeled, simmered, and steered in the pot of the divine master chef to become a sacred and savory meal fit for the heavenly, most heavenly of feasts. You have been through these tantalizing trials, the push to surrender fear, the realization your attempts at control amount to not so much actually, so why not abandon them altogether? The trials have asked you to confront every part of your being that holds itself back in resistance to what is, in resistance to what life presents at this very moment. You have been asked to become comfortable with the possible discomfort of not knowing, and to understand you don't have to understand anything for life to work out with perfect synchronicity and generous grace. You have been asked to bear darkness without losing hope for the return of the light. You have been asked to trust in your own heart wisdom when your mind was terrorized by nightmare and hallucinations of fear. They were so powerful. You were certain they must be real, that you must be crazy not to run and hide somehow, somewhere. And yet here you are, still loving, still wise, and ready for a love bigger than you have ever experienced before. So we step forward together, you and I. I link my arm through yours and I urge you on. Let us run together and jump over the edge. No more half living in any way for you and me. We will weep crystal clear tears. I love that. And we will laugh with such joy that stars will burst forth, borne upon our exhalations. We will hear the beating of the cosmic heart pounding in our ears, and how we shall dance to it. That sacred intoxicating rhythm moves hips and hands and hearts, raising the soul from slumber. This oracle comes with special guidance for you. More love is rushing towards you like a great cosmic tsunami. You will struggle with this blessing to the extent that you will attempt to hold on to what has been. So don't let go. That's the main message here, with the Six of Swords, Three of Swords, and the Death, and the Five of Cups are telling you to let go. Let it move you. You will perhaps get some water up your nose, but nothing will come to you that you cannot handle. You'll be disheveled somewhat, undoubtedly. Yet, as you are washed up upon love's shining shore, keeping every hair in place will be the last thing on your mind. You will be too caught up in the wonder of perfection, realizing how deeply loved you are and how unnecessary it is to contrive a way to live your purpose. Instead, you'll have no idea what's going on. You'll be surrendered in passionate embrace, with life simply being your exquisite, crazy, unique self, saturated with divine love. It will drip from you, out of your feet, your eyes, your voice, your touch. You'll water the earth with love's oceanic presence. Oh, how that tsunami will deliver you into your divine destiny. No need for any contrivance. Let your hair get messed up. Your destiny awaits you now. Okay, nice. That sounds a little bit scary for those that don't like adventure, but I think it's exactly what you need right now to be like completely moved. And you are moving. There's a movement here. Okay, there's this sacred honoring ritual. If you feel like doing it, go for it. If it's not your thing, just let it go. Don't pay any attention to it. So if you're interested, it goes like this. Place your hand on your stomach and the other over your heart. Focus on your breath flowing gently in and out. When you are ready, say the following aloud. Rumi, who loves me unconditionally, with all the wild love and unconditional affection of the universal heart, help me now. I trust in my own heart wisdom and in the truth of your love for me. Please help me trust in the flow of life. Let go of my fixed plans and ideas and open up to the genius of love itself. May I realize that my destiny will unfold with absolute perfection, and I may trust in the signs I am given. May I be able to release any false guidance based in fear, and may I open up instead to genuine guidance and inner knowing based in love. Under the grace of your protection, May this be so. Feel the warmth of your hands on your body and just breathe. When you are ready, simply place your hands in prayer position and bow your head gently to your hands. This is your simple and powerful action that reminds you of this truth. Your head is supposed to bow to and honor the heart, not try to dominate and control it. And with this, you've completed your ritual. All right, dear Cancer, I wish you really to have the courage and the strength to go through this process. It doesn't sound exhilarating, but it is actually so freeing and so beautiful once you take the steps. And I believe that you know that already, given your current energy, and that you're determined enough with the chariot here to move forward and to let go of everything that's based in fear at this point in time. All right, beloved, have a wonderful month and process, and happy holidays if you celebrate. Happy New Year. If you resonated with this reading, please like, share, subscribe, and comment, whatever. Get engaged somehow. And I'll see you here soon. May our practice benefit all beings.